Yes, 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 I cut my hair. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Toya here and I am back with another video. Today's video is all about classroom management hacks. Super excited about this video because I just really wish someone had told me just about all the different tips and tricks and things like that that I could have used last year to better have a hold on students. Not saying that my students last year were just terrible. I had a few in the bunch, but that's anywhere. And, you know, overall, I enjoyed my experience last year. This year, I definitely have a lot to take into consideration. I'll definitely be at a new school and all that jazz. So, super excited about that. Yes, I cut my hair. I'm still trying to, like, fill it out. I'm still trying to even just still working with my hair here, so be patient with me throughout my channel. I cut it and I was just like, I need something different. I need something new. My hair was completely damaged. I had dyed my hair twice, and like the time span was like maybe a month apart, maybe a month and a half apart. My hair was just so damaged, guys. It wouldn't curl back up. It was just, I was starting to go more towards a flat iron. It was just a hot mess. So I just said, I might as well start over. It's hair, it grows back. And I'm actually really happy that I did it because I've noticed, like, I don't know, my hair's just so much healthier. I can learn how to just love it from the roots to whatever. So I'm excited about that. You'll definitely be hearing and seeing me talk and do things with my hair throughout my channel. I know this is a teaching, well, I initially started my YouTube channel geared towards just my teacher life, but lately I've just kind of had a whole different perspective just because I have a lot of things going on in my life. So if you guys are interested in a life update video, I will have that posted next after this video. So I definitely want you guys to be looking out for that, and I don't want you guys to miss it because I have so many exciting things going on in my life, so why would you want to miss this moment? Why? Like, just tell me why. Anyway, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so I cut my hair and this is it. So this is the new Toya. Anyway, diving back in, yeah, this video is completely about classroom management hacks. I did make a list here, so if you catch me looking down, it's just because I'm just kind of referring back to my list here. So we're gonna just hop right in. All right, hack number 1 is how to quiet your class quickly. Your class is noisy and you need to get their attention, and you just really, they're just talking and you're just like, what? So I'm gonna start that over. All right, so hack number 1 is how to quiet your kids. Your kids are in centers or they're doing independent work and somehow they got loud, or you're trying to get their attention. They're in the cafeteria, you're trying to get them quiet so they can line up, put the trays up, whatever the jazz is. I feel it's important to have some type of verbal communication, or not even verbal, because I know a lot of teachers, there's different ways you can do this. I know some teachers, they may just put up 5 and they put their hands up, and kids automatically know that once the teacher puts up 5, you put up 5 and you're quiet. So I know that has worked. For me, I just like to have a message. So what I do, what a hack, is I say waterfall. So when I say waterfall, the kids are supposed to respond and say, shh. So it's like, waterfall, shh, you know? So that's the hack, and once my kids get that, I feel like, you know, it's easier. Because I feel like with this method, not every kid can see you. They more so have to just notice that, hey, there's somebody. They have to turn around to even see that their hand's up and all that. And I just feel like once they hear me say waterfall, it's just one of those things that will be, you know, programmed in their mind. So it's like waterfall, shh, and they automatically know, okay, it's quiet. We're about to do some type of transition into something different. So I need to be quiet. I need to be listening. So that's hack number 1. And I find that method to be, one, engaging for students. It isn't anything harsh. It's a positive way to get students quiet without saying, hey, be quiet, or yelling at them or anything like that. So love that one. All right, hack number 2, hand signals. Hand signals are everything to me. And the reason why I love hand signals so much is because when my kids are working independently, it provides the sense of me knowing what you need without even having to verbally say anything. So when I say hand signals, I mean like, and there's all different type of hand signals. You can definitely create your own. So for instance, it can be like, if you put up the number 1, that means that your pencil's broken and you need a new pencil. So I know with that number 1 being up, I'm going to go, and this is another tip later on down the line that I'll jump into, but I just know when you put up the number 1, you need a new pencil, okay? And then let's say, for instance, you put up this, or you hold this sign up, or something like this. This means that you need to go to the bathroom. You need to go use the bathroom. So all I have to do is look at you and I'll just go like nod my head. I don't have to speak. I'm not distracting any other student from working. I'm not getting another student off topic or off track or off anything. Like, I'm literally, that student and I are making eye contact. Nobody else is aware. I'm telling that student yes or no to the restroom, and it's just peaceful. It's easy. It's just one of those things. Same thing, you just do another signal for water or whatever the case may be. Whatever, if students have a question, then they can put up 5, whatever the case may be. You come up with your own hand signals, and I just find that works way, way better. When you allow students and they put up their hand and you're like, yes, guess what? All those rest of the students that are working, their attention fully goes to you, to that conversation that you and that other student are having. And that student's like, can I go to the restroom? So now these other kids, they're not even thinking about their work anymore. They're just thinking about, oh, he just asked to go to the restroom. It throws kids off track. It's like the same thing. When you're teaching a lesson and the intercom comes on in your classroom, that's a distraction to your class. You're trying to teach a lesson. Now you're all off focus, off target because of a distraction or a disruption. So it's like the same thing. So just having hand signals definitely eliminates that off-task situation. So highly recommend that. Tip number 3. This one is one of my ultimate favorites. This is for it's the mystery walker. For me, you always want your kids to be like exceptionally well behaved in the hallways. You always want them to be that model class, and for other teachers to always compliment your class on how well they are in the hallway and, you know, all that jazz. So for me, I always pick a mystery walker. So, and how I do that is, that's also another tip throughout the lesson, but I have a jar or a bucket, a small little bucket that I got from Dollar Tree, and it has popsicle sticks in it, and all the students' names are on there, so I just randomly pull a name out, and it's as simple as that, and I just make that person my mystery walker, and I never tell the kids. No one else knows. It's just me that knows. I know what name I pulled out. If I know that we're about to go on a walk in the hallway or go, whether it's to lunch, to recess, to the gym, to assembly, whatever the case may be, I just pull a name, and I expect that to be just my mystery walker throughout that class period. And the reason why I just don't like to tell them who the mystery walker is every time we reach our location is just because that person, they feel like, oh, I already won mystery walker, so it doesn't matter to me, da-da-da-da. It just eliminates all of that chaos, and if you just keep them on their toes and guessing all the way to the end of the class period, it just keeps everybody on task and wanting to work hard to being the one that has their name pulled. So that's something that I highly recommend as well as a mystery walker. And there's all other type of methods that other teachers may use in the hallway. This is just personally what I prefer. So go ahead, do your research and do those things. Just have like a fun way to get students to want to do the right thing. Hack number 4. So have you ever had that student who just really relies on you like heavily, meaning like they literally ask you a million questions a day? And, you know, it's just like the most annoying thing, because when you like turn, there's that student right there on you like, I have a question, I have a question, I have a question. I love those kids, but they're the most annoying kids. So something that was presented to me that I really took into consideration and that I use is giving those students a limit, like on how many questions they can ask a day. And I know that may sound like really harsh, but trust me, it works. So telling that student, hey, you only have 5 questions. You can only ask me 5 questions per day. And, you know, if it's not anything urgent, I suggest you think really hard and only come to me if you really, really, really need me. So in those situations, what I found is the student relies so heavily on me that they don't give their complete effort to their work because they know that if they ask me, I'm going to help them. And most of that is my fault because I like to be helpful. That's my job. That's what I'm here for. But those students, they rely too heavily on that to where they don't want to give as much effort. So to wing that student off, you get 5 questions a day. So when you catch this student walking to you and they're like holding their work and they're like, and you look at them and they're like, they just hit that little U-turn like, I'll figure it out. They don't want to waste their questions because they never know when they'll have another question. So it's like if it's something they know that they can really just try to figure it out, then that works. Otherwise, I know that they really, really, really need my help. If they just was like, look, I've looked over this is what I tried, this is what I did, it's just not working for me, then I'll take that time to help them. That's when I know it's important. So that's a tip. Just giving those kids a limit. Kids need limits. Hack number 5, Popsicle Sticks. I love using Popsicle Sticks as a way to, when I'm doing instructional time and I'm teaching a lesson up in front of this whole group, and I need for students to tell me what they're learning or what we're doing or just asking questions about the overall lesson or whatever. You don't always want to pick on the same kids, and you don't want kids to feel like you're picking on them, not even picking on them, but just feel like you're singling them out. So I have a bucket. Like I said, it's one of those like little Dollar Tree buckets, and a little small one with the little handle on it, and it has all of my students' names in it, and has all their students' names on it. And so on one side of the popsicle stick, I try to like color it or put tape on it or whatever it is that I choose to do. And I'll turn it upside down so I'll know that, hey, I already called on this student, so I don't need to call on this student right now again. So it's randomizing who you're calling on. So students, they never know if you're going to call on them. So it makes them want to be more engaged because they don't want to be embarrassed if they do get called on. They want to know the answer. So that is a great hack. And I definitely think it's very useful. So if you don't use that in your classroom, I highly suggest it. It just keeps everyone engaged and everyone feel a part of the lesson because they never know when it's going to be them that's going to be called. Hack number 6. This hack works specifically more for those classrooms that have their students set up in rows and columns, not so much clusters. For me, I like my class to be in rows and columns. If we are doing a group assignment and we're going to be doing a group assignment maybe for like a extended period of time, then I'll put the classroom in groups for that time period. But overall, I like my kids to just have their own space. And I feel like when they're in groups, they're more eager to talk and just, it's not as helpful. That's my opinion. And so where this hack comes in is you pass papers to, the side instead of the front. And the reason why I feel like this is a great hack is because I've noticed when you ask students to pass their papers to the front, they're hitting the kids in front of them or tapping them on the shoulders. The kids are getting annoyed. The papers are flickering in their ears. It's just like chaotic. So passing them to the side. And then the other trick to this is they're not passing it to the student in their hand to the side. They're placing their paper on top of the desk of the student next to them. That student then places their paper on top of that other student's paper and does the same thing, and the cycle continues until they get to the end of the column or row. And I will walk down the side and I will pick up each row's paper or each column's paper. And to me, this works better because, one, the students don't have to touch each other. They don't have to interact with each other. They're simply just placing their papers on the desk, and it eliminates all of that hitting, like tapping or just fidgeting with the person, like all of that jazz. So I definitely feel like that's a great tip, and it definitely has helped. I don't have students complaining about just they can't see behind them, so it's just put it there and go. Tip number 7, do not call roll out loud, okay? I feel like attendance is for the teacher, not for the students. I don't feel like it's necessary to call students' names out and have them say here, present, whatever the case may be. I feel like during that time, students should automatically come into the classroom working on an assignment from the get. Students should not come into a classroom and not have an assignment. I feel like while the students are working on that assignment, the teacher should be doing attendance. And if a student is not present in her room in that morning, if I have a kid that's not there in that morning, I don't automatically mark them absent. I'll give them to about 5-10 extra minutes, and then I'll put an A. And I'll always write my attendance in a hard copy as with a pencil. So that way if they're tardy, I can just erase the A and put a T, or whatever the case may be. And if it's something, I don't know if I have to send it up to the office. If they're absent, if it's past the tardy bell, they're absent if it's first thing in the morning. Now, if it's later on in the day and they're said to be here, but they're not in my classroom, I'll just put like the same thing, absent or tardy. If they show up, I'll change it, but first thing in the morning, I put them as absent, because if they are tardy, they'll come to school and they have to sign in at the front desk. So then that changes later if they come in. I always do a hard copy and I always write it in pencil. And then at the end of the day, I'll go in and I'll write over it with a pen. That's just what I do. It works for me, and I just feel like it doesn't create all these mistakes and errors in my grade book or attendance book or whatever. So love that. Tip number 8. I cannot stand the sound of a pencil sharpener. I cannot, especially while I'm teaching a lesson or students are doing work. I cannot stand that sound. So I have a dull pencil or an unsharpened pencil jar, and I have a sharpened pencil jar. So in my sharpened pencil jar, it automatically has about 40 to 50 pencils in it from the get-go. So when students walk into my classroom, they are to take a sharpened pencil, one sharpened pencil, out of the sharpened cubby when they're walking to their seats. And if, for instance, the pencil breaks throughout the day, they are to put up their signal without interrupting anyone else. I will either, if I'm doing instructional time, they should not have a pencil anyway because I'm teaching. So they're not necessarily writing anything. But if I do have them writing something and then they put up the one, then I'll just direct them to go get a pencil out of the sharpened cup and put their broken pencil in the unsharpened pencil cup. And at the end of the day, I'll usually, for one of my jobs, my classroom jobs, I'll have a person who sharpens the pencils, or, you know, anything like that. So, or sometimes if that person forgets, I sharpen them myself at the end of the day. It's no issue at all. So that's easy. And if it's like the kids are working independently and I'm walking around just monitoring, then I'll bring the sharpened pencil cup to them. Sorry about that. My phone went dead, but we're back. I was finishing up on tip number 8 about unsharpened and sharpened pencils. So that's usually just how it works for me. I have my unsharpened pencil jar and my sharpened pencil jar, and they put up their hand signal without interrupting or distracting the classroom. Nobody has to get up out of their seat, and it's flawless. Like, I'm sorry, but it is, and I love that system. That system works for my classroom. It may not work for your classroom. Every hack does not work for every single classroom. It's just something that if you feel like it does, give it a try, see if you like it, and go from there. these are just my tips, my advice, and what I do and what I love and what works for me in my classroom. Tip number 9, everyone has that student that's just challenging, to say the least. What I've learned to do is just that student, all that student wants is attention. So I had to find a way to use that to my benefit. So usually if I see that student's on this like path to destruction, I usually start assigning him helper jobs, whether it's helping me pass out papers, letting him be the line leader. And I say him just to say him. It's not like directed or anything like that. Not saying that every problem child is a boy. You have your problem girls. But just using him for the sake of the examples. But I would just let him be my helper. Like I feel like they want attention and they just need to move around. Some kids, they just need to move around. So, you know, I would give him those little single jobs, and sometimes it's okay to say, hey, come sit by me, you know, like have a desk, a special desk placed in that classroom for that student, and just kind of get them moving. And just and with those students, I always like to write encouraging letters to them. So even if it's just like on a Friday, sometimes I'll tell them like, hey, I can't wait to write this awesome letter home to your parents, and just let them know what a great week you've had. And I think like things like that really motivate them to have a great week, because they look forward to having those notes go home, especially on a Friday. And they're like, oh, my parents will take me here, there, whatever, or they'll get me that special thing that I wanted. Like, I give them those little, you know, talks and just say like, hey, I would love to write your parents an awesome note this Friday, and just let them know that you've had a great week. Just supporting those students and things like that, that's important. So just finding a way to use their, I don't want to say flaws, but just using the things that trigger them just needing that attention, just using that to your advantage, and just being there for those children. If they respect you, then they'll more than likely respect your classroom. So, you know, it's important to just have those relationships. Our final tip, but of course there's a ton more out there, but this one is my absolute favorite of them all, and it's the Infraction Guard. For me, I like to use this, especially when I'm teaching during home group. Instead of stopping my lesson to get on to a student, calling and singling that student out, it's not necessary. All I do is I'm constantly pacing throughout the room. If I'm doing instructional time, I'm at the smartboard, but I like to give a lot of examples. So sometimes I'm walking across the room and just, you know, whatever, and I'm just roaming around. And if I'm asking students questions, I like to give that attention and that floor to the student. So I'll try to walk on the opposite side of the classroom while that student's giving their answer, or just, you know, and I try to make sure my answers are geared more to giving me higher thinking answers, versus just like me saying, oh, who's the president of the United States? And they give me this one single-handed answer. I just like them to think and put a lot of thought into their answers. So I definitely try to ask questions that target that. And when I lesson plan, I like to write these questions out ahead of time, so I won't be sitting there on the spot trying to think of questions. So I usually have those questions written down somewhere near me where students don't really know that I'm looking, but I am. Back to the infraction card. Sorry, I get off topic really quickly. But what I was getting to about roaming around the classroom is I do that. It's important to do that because that limits a lot of your behavior issues in your classroom if you're moving around the classroom. So students are too busy, they're not even noticing me walking around the classroom because it's something that they're used to me doing. So if a student is misbehaving, I just have my little infraction cards that I just slide on that student's desk, and they already know the procedure and routine for infraction cards, so they know that at the end of that lesson or the end of when we have downtime that I'm going to come back to them, and that they need to have that card filled out. And they need to tell me what they think that they did wrong and how they think that they can change that behavior to not allow it to happen again. And we just kind of think of a plan for it and it's like their warning there. And that's what I call their warning. So that is what I use an infraction card. It does not take away instructional time. It does not allow me to single out any student during that time. Some students probably got a warning and other students probably won't even know it. So like when the next behavior infraction occurs, you know, they'll be like, where'd that come from? He didn't even get a warning, but little did they know he did get a warning. So, you know, those are just little hacks and things there. But this concludes my classroom management hacks video. I hope you guys really appreciate it. As always, I'm thankful that you guys even clicked on my channel or even on this video. I want you guys to remember that I will always be here to answer any questions, because I've noticed in a few other videos, you know, some people, they really do. I love when people comment and they respond to my videos. Like, that really, really warms my heart, because I love to talk to new people and I love to learn from new people. So it's always like, I know for me, especially on Instagram, I'm always commenting under other teachers' pictures, and I'm always asking questions, because the best teachers steal from other teachers, and I'm always stealing ideas from other teachers. That's how you evolve. That's how you grow. No one is ever going to have a perfect set plan. No one's ever going to just be this perfect, amazing teacher. Everyone has something that they can grow in, and it's always like best to just learn from other teachers. So that is important to me, and I love when you guys just comment and give me feedback, or even just say hey. Just say, hey, watched your video, tell me your thoughts, even just tell me about yourself. Like, I just want to feel connected to the people that are watching me. So also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to watch any of my other videos. It's always appreciated, loved, and thanked. I do plan to do several other things here with my channel, so be patient with me. Like I said, I cut my hair. I definitely want to kind of talk about that a lot more too, because it's a process for me, and I know I have other people out there, and they may not all be teachers, but there's other people out there who may have cut their hair off and just don't know where to go from here. So just little things like that. But as always, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in my next video.